The Day Before was one of the biggest scams in the history of gaming. It went from the most wish-listed game on Steam to the most refunded game ever. But here's the scary part. The Day Before was only the beginning. More fake games are on the horizon, and this time, it's worse than anyone could ever imagine. It's free to play. It uses crypto to scam its players, and worst of all, it uses influencers' names without their permission to promote their scheme. This is worse than any fake game ever before, and we are here to break it down. Before we dive into how Paradise is setting up its scam, let's take a step back and talk about The Day Before, a game that fooled the entire gaming community and shot to the top of Steam's wishlist charts without even showing real gameplay. So, how did they pull it off? Let's rewind to 2021, when The Day Before first appeared on IGN's YouTube channel. The gameplay footage looked stunning, not revolutionary, but good enough to create hype. It had realistic mud physics, cinematic lighting, and the kind of visuals you'd expect from a top-tier AAA title. Then, on April 9th, we got another trailer. This time, it promised even more. Multiplayer, zombies, survival mechanics, PvP, and an extraction shooter all in one. It sounded too good to be true, and honestly, it was. For a brand new studio, fntastic was promising far more than most established AAA developers could deliver, yet people still bought into it. Now, we can't dive into every red flag the game had. I will leave links on entire videos covering that. But let's focus on the real question here. How did so many players fall for it? The truth is, most so-called gamers only care about one thing: graphics. If a game looks like a Hollywood blockbuster, people don't even question whether it's real. And that's where Unreal Engine 5 comes in. We'll talk more about UE5 later in the video, but here's the short version. Unreal makes it incredibly easy to create cinematic, trailer-worthy shots without actually having to build a functioning game. Tools like Lumen, asset libraries like Megascans, make it incredibly easy for these studios to fake their games. And that's exactly what happened. When The Day Before finally launched, it fully failed to deliver. It was exposed as an asset flip. The flashy visuals and scripted gameplay in the trailers were all just the power of Unreal Engine 5. It's easy to make a game look real with Unreal Engine 5, but making it actually playable, that's a whole different story. Unreal Engine literally makes it hard to tell whether it's a game or real life. I'll explain why Unreal Engine 5 is both a blessing and a curse later in this video. But for now, let's talk about The Day Before's shady cousin, Paradise. On September 18th, 2024, we got our first look at Paradise. But unlike The Day Before, this game raised way too many red flags in its very first trailer, which we'll break down in just a second. The reason I said Paradise is even worse than The Day Before is because just to get listed on Steam and Epic Games, its developers, Ultra Games, had to literally change their entire website to hide the fact that this game uses crypto tokens. You see, Steam doesn't allow crypto in games, so Ultra Games quietly removed all mentions of their PAR token from the website just to sneak their game onto these platforms. But thanks to the Wayback Machine, we can still see their original site, and it clearly featured the PAR token before they wiped it clean. It even featured an entire influencer section who they claim they've partnered with, which is also just not true. Here's where it gets even shadier. To actually make money with their crypto, Ultra Games forces players to download their Telegram app to earn these tokens, which can then be spent in-game to buy things in the game. It's just really scummy. And if that wasn't bad enough, they've also been changing their YouTube descriptions repeatedly, using big titles like GTA and The Sims to illegally market their game. If you didn't already know, it is illegal to use other games to market your own. On top of that, they've used multiple influencers' names, without permission, to create fake hype around the game. They claim you can talk to AI versions of your favorite influencers, which is really dystopian if we think about it. But let's take a closer look at their October 25th trailer from last year, which really exposes how fake this game is. At first glance, the trailer shows off a jaw-dropping weather system and photorealistic water physics. But here's the problem. None of these was allegedly made by Ultra Games. The best parts of the trailer they were proudly showing off are just Unreal Engine marketplace assets anyone can buy. The weather system? That's Ultra Dynamic Sky. The water physics? That's the Fluid Flux plugin. Even the animations weren't custom made. They were pulled straight from UE5 game samples. Thanks to Core Arts in the comments for pointing these out. Now, to be clear, I'm not against developers using assets to save time. If I were starting a studio myself, I'd absolutely use plugins like these. But here's the real issue. Ultra Games is passing this off as their own work and tricking people into thinking that they made all these themselves, which I assume is just not true. And it's working, because most casual gamers don't know how Unreal Engine plugins work and believe that Ultra Games are really just hard at work making this game. But combine that with a sketchy crypto token and a misleading marketing, and it's painfully obvious. This game is nothing but a scam. And if that still doesn't convince you, one of Jetro's subscribers actually went to Ultra Games' listed office address, and guess what? Ultra Games doesn't even exist. But here's the kicker. What The Day Before and Paradise both have in common is how they used Unreal Engine 5 to fake their trailers so well. We are diving into Unreal Engine 5's impact just now, but before we do so, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you. Now, let's get back to it. Most of us understand that making a game isn't easy. It takes years, sometimes even decades, and hundreds of people to deliver a high-quality AAA game. But what many don't quite understand is just how easy it is to create a realistic-looking fake trailer. That's where Unreal Engine 5 comes in. This game engine is so powerful that it's not just used for games, it's even being used in Hollywood blockbuster films. Let that sink in for a moment. A game engine capable of creating visuals for Hollywood films. That alone shows you how powerful it is. Now, let me show you an example of UE5's capabilities. Crimson, an indie game developer, created a parody of The Day Before using UE5. Just one person and a bunch of assets made a trailer so convincing that it could pass as a real game. Now imagine what an entire team could do, especially a team whose sole goal is to fake a game. To be clear, what Crimson made wasn't real gameplay. It was just a demonstration of what's possible. Yet, despite his clear disclaimers, people flooded his comments asking, "Where can I buy this game?" This perfectly shows what we talked about earlier. Many gamers see stunning graphics and automatically assume it's a real thing. Unreal Engine 5 makes creating jaw-dropping visuals easier than ever. One standout feature is its real-time rendering. If you're not familiar with what that means, let me explain. You can make changes to a scene and see them instantly without waiting for a long render. This dramatically speeds up production for small studios, and this can be done with just a good gaming computer you have at home. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. With tools like motion matching for realistic animations and PCG for quickly creating massive, detailed worlds, UE5 gives game developers unprecedented creative freedom. But the same tools that empower genuine creators also make it easier for scammers like fntastic and Ultra Games to fake their way into our trust and steal our money. Before wrapping up this section, let's be clear. Unreal Engine 5 isn't the villain here. It's one of the most revolutionary tools the gaming industry has ever seen. It's helped indie studios bring their dream projects to life without breaking the bank. It's made it possible for solo developers to create games that were unthinkable a decade ago. Even giants like CD Projekt Red have ditched their in-house Red engine in favor of UE5 for their future projects. So yes, Unreal Engine 5 has done a lot of good for the gaming community, but unfortunately, the attention often goes to those who abuse its power. And that brings us to the end of this video. Before you leave, just know that anything and everything you see on gameplay trailers are scripted. All the NPC movements, all the events, are all scripted. So the next time you see a gameplay trailer, think twice before you pre-order. If you enjoyed this video, you can watch my other videos here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more high-quality videos like this.